Hello, everyone. Welcome to Florida's Fourth Estate. We are so happy that you are making the time to join us once again, because I'm assuming that this is not your first time. If it is your first time, strap in because we've got a rockin' show for you. This is going to be phenomenal. I'm your host, Ginger Gadsden. That's my co host, Matt Austin. We are so happy that you can join us because today's topic is something that the people of Florida know a little too much about. Florida is the lightning capital of North America,
Yeah.
I believe. We have more lightning strikes in Florida than any other place in the country. And we have an example of lightning striking twice in the same family. It's a story that is nuts. You've probably heard a little bit about it, but you're going to hear a little bit more about it today.
That you are. We have these stories that we air, and then sometimes they just kind of go away. We never get to actually meet the people. We heard about these two baseball fans who got hit, and then we got to see them on our TV, and we're like, we want to hear more from these two. So we have Ashley and John Moberg joining us all the way from Chicago right now. Look at them. Look at them. These are
Nothing happened to these two.
It looks, this
What are
looks
we
like a
talking
normal
about?
Thursday for these two. I'm very impressed. I'm a dad with daughters, so the fact that they were hanging out and going to a baseball game together is like, I'm already in love with this story. So first off, so glad you guys are doing well. So glad you're able to join us for our podcast. Ashley, I guess you can start. Can you tell us how this all happened, how it all came to be?
Yeah, I actually remained conscious during the whole thing, so I remember it. My dad was knocked unconscious, so he doesn't have all the details. We were walking out of the Steinbrenner Field after the Yankees spring training game, and we were parked in the Raymond James Stadium. So we were walking to our car, and we paused briefly for my dad to get the remote clicker to try to find out where our car was, and I had bent down to fix my shoe. And then all of a sudden there was a bright flash and the loudest boom I've ever heard in my life. And I saw my dad flying through the air. I was flying through the air. I saw him hit his head on the ground. And then my ears were ringing. I landed on the ground. And because my dad was unconscious and not moving, not speaking, I had thought he was dead for about 10 seconds there while I was just trying to steady my breathing, figure out whether or not I was dying. And finally, my dad started calling out to me for help. He didn't know that I was hurt as well. And I just started screaming out to anybody to help us. I was paralyzed in my right arm and my left leg, so I had a hard time moving. But once I realized no one could hear me, I pushed myself up and crawled closer to my dad, where I was able to try to wave down some cars, which of course didn't see us. And luckily for us, a bystander had walked past. His name was Paulie, and he stopped and called 911. And he was the bright light in everything that was happening. He kept the crowds away from us. He waited with us until we were loaded into the ambulances and on the way to Tampa General. So he was really amazing.
Even after the police came, the police said you could go, and he insisted on staying with us until both of us were in an ambulance on our way.
Oh, Paulie sounds like a sweet
I
man.
want to meet Paul.
And it was a torrential rainpour that he was doing this in. So yes, he was a real prince.
I was going to ask you what kind of weather you were seeing because, you were at Steinbrenner Field and everything had just wrapped up. Had it been raining on you and did you see any lightning in the area while you were at the game? Because they would have stopped it. So tell me a little bit about what was going on that day.
Well, the storm was scheduled to roll through, so we all had an idea that the game was going to end early. But my dad and I have sat through so many rainstorms for a baseball game. We wear our rain ponchos and we wait out the rain to see if they restart the game. So we were prepared to do that. We were wearing our rain ponchos, and they ushered us out of the stands and under the roofs of the souvenir shop to keep us safe. And eventually the game was officially called. So it started off just drizzling. It was actually at the beginning of the game so hot we were sweating and burning our sunburn from previous days. And it's just started drizzling, and we hadn't seen any any lightning very close to us. When we decided to make our way to our car, we heard some thunder and saw the lightning in the distance, but nothing so close. So we figured we could make it to our car, except we were disoriented by how heavy the rain was and couldn't exactly figure out where we parked. And it was the wind had the rain almost horizontal. It was so windy and so rainy. And I guess everybody in the parking lot had saw the lightning strike in the parking lot, and just nobody knew that people were injured.
We were running from tree to tree, not so much to be under a tree, but because of the horizontal effect of the rain, we were hoping that we could hide from the rain a little, the horizontal pounding of the rain a little bit. But it was a strange experience, and I did not realize we were hit by lightning. The lightning actually was at my back, and all I felt was like a dream. I knew I was falling on my face, and I couldn't do anything about it. Then I was unconscious, and I woke up with my face in the mud and unable to move at all. I was 100% frozen, and I didn't know Ashley had got hit. And after a while, I was able to roll over, and she told me what happened. So that was probably the scariest part from my point of view, is just the helplessness, not being able to do anything. I've been in accidents, you get in different little crises, but you're always able to do something to modify it. And I was totally unable to do anything to move myself.
And to be clear, running under the trees was his idea, not mine.
Okay,
you're never going to hear the end of that one.
Yeah, you're going to be hearing for that one for a while there, John. So that's what I was wondering. Like, I was picturing a parking lot where you two are the tallest things in the parking lot, because I'm always trying to reason, like, how out of every piece of this area do these two people get? So my two questions are, when it happened, were you under a tree and it maybe hit a tree and like kind of spread to you? Were you guys super close together? Like, how did all that go down?
So between our injuries, and we actually went back to the parking lot where it happened after we were released from the hospital. I wanted to find the necklace that melted off of me and burned through my neck. We went back and we kind of configured a good theory of what we think happened. And I was standing a few feet away from my dad. I was actually closer to the tree when it happened, and I was blasted out of my shoes about 6 feet away from where I was originally standing. My dad ended up about 3 feet or so from where he was standing. He didn't go flying as much as was pushed straight down with incredible force. And I was crouched down, so I guess I just had the angle to launch. But we figured that the lightning had struck to my right side, which would be further away from my dad, where his back was facing to, hit the ground, not the tree, because the tree didn't have any burns at the top of it or on the trunk. Just it soaked up a little bit from the electricity of the ground, and we were standing in about a half inch of water. It had puddled up so much from the rain, and we were drenched. So we were just very conductive at the time.
The paramedics actually said that what saved us is the rubber soles. I had boat shoes on and she had gym shoes on. And they said that's what saved us from the experience.
We had figured it was a ground current strike where it soaks up from your feet and the electricity goes through your body and comes out the top, which is why we would have been pushed up off of the ground.
Everything is random too. Like, she had the metal on her melt, and I got random burns on my ankles, my calf, my thighs. Just, there was no logic why. It just kind of skips to different parts of your body. And you wonder how it happens like it does.
So you
didn't take a direct hit, because I feel like people who would have taken a direct hit wouldn't be here speaking to us now. You just were in proximity and got the effect and the damage from that.
We believe it hit the ground just a few feet away from us. Yes.
I've actually done a lot of research on lightning prior to this happening. I guess that makes me a good candidate to get hit. But
it's a little too much research.
A direct hit, the lightning bolt usually leaves an entry and exit wound similar to the way a bullet would. Which has only a 10% chance of, or a 50% chance of survival. And a ground current strike, depending on your size, the bigger you are, the more likely you are to have serious injuries or to die. Um, but because I'm smaller and was crouched down to the ground, I actually had less injuries than my dad did. But the ground current strike, aside from a direct hit, is the most lethal.
So you're telling me you're bending down to tie your shoes. Lightning, you think, hits the ground, shoots you out of your shoes, like your shoes were still in the same area where the lightning hit you, knocks you 6 feet away, and
Yes.
your dad gets driven about 3 feet away.
Like she was picked up and dropped away without her shoes.
What are you made out of? How are you okay? How's that?
I've gotten my dad's immortality gene. They've tried to kill him several times over, and he's too stubborn, so I've inherited that.
Good.
I mean, we were really out of it for a short period of time, but for 10 minutes you're worried about even surviving. And what's is seconds seems like minutes and minutes longer yet, because your whole perception is your thoughts are running through your mind and everything. But shortly after we got to the hospital, we knew we were going to be okay. And then it was just an incredible experience of the humanity that reached out to us. People were just incredibly hospitable, just reaching out to us through our phones, through the internet, the hospital itself. It was just unbelievable. Even when we went back to pick up our car, which is left in the parking lot, and all the attendants are there preparing the parking lot for the next day's game, and every one of them was running up to us to say, "How are you?" There must have been 20 attendants that were running up to us and asking us how we were doing and what happened and everything. Just an unbelievable experience.
And actually talking about it so much has kind of been a way to detach a little from it. It feels more like telling a story than experiencing one. But the other day here in Chicago, it was raining, and it was raining throughout the night and into the morning, and we went to go outside and open our door. I was letting my dog out. My dad was trying to get the mail, and we actually had this eerie feeling, this creepy, frozen feeling because of the rain and the overcastness, that it just brought us right back.
It creates the image back of being there under the tree.
It's almost a little bit of PTSD, if you will, and that is completely understandable, I think, for people who had been hit by lightning.
Yeah, you have to feel like this will change you somehow. Like I hopefully not physically. I hope you guys fully recover from this, but I feel like even mentally and emotionally, like you might have some things to work through after a situation like this. Do you think that's true?
We're just trying to get back to normal, but a little bit, yes.
I mean, other than I've got a broken cheekbone and some burns, and Ashley's got the burn from her necklace, physically we're pretty fine right now. The thing that's actually, as Ashley said, we've told the story so much. Every one of our friends, everybody wants us to go in detail. What happened? What did it feel like? So you're right. You get kind of detached because you've told the story probably 1,000 times by now.
Sure.
Actually, my dad doesn't really believe in something stopping you from doing what you have to do. So when he saw the rain after he got over the creepy feeling, he threw on a jacket and went right outside to get the mail anyway. He's actually been back to work since it happened. So he doesn't believe in being held back.
Okay.
Mr. John's made of different stuff.
Here's the thing that's getting me about this story, and maybe it's because of my own personal bias, but you two are adorable. Okay. Why? Okay, you seem very close. I love that you're like far from home. You're 20 years old. You could easily be like somewhere with your friends. You're with your dad watching a baseball game, trying to ride it out. You talk about him like he's an amazing guy, which he certainly seems that way, and you would know more than anybody. As a guy with daughters, like, how does this happen? How does this relationship, like, tell us more about you two and your
You're counseling
bond.
Matt now.
Yes. How do I do this? How do I make this happen?
We've just always been close. When I was a baby, I wouldn't sleep unless my dad was walking me up and down the hallway, and I always, when I would have a bad dream, come and find him. I knew he was invincible, so I knew he'd always be able to protect me. And we just, between our late night ice cream cravings and our baseball ideation and everything like that. We're very close and we're
Oh.
very similar. We have a love for books that no one else in our family really shares. So we're as close as can be. Unfortunately, that let me follow him when he said he knew where the car was. But so
Followed
for
you
all
under
the
that
daughters
tree,
out
John.
there-
She followed you
for
under
all
a
the
tree in a
daughters
lightning
out
storm.
there, your dad doesn't know where the car is. Lead
Oh
him.
my
I'm
God.
taking a beating. I think
No.
the lead up to this is she became a Yankee fan obviously because of me, and I did because of my father. I actually was 5 years old before I realized I didn't live in New York. Um, and she followed in there. And after the strike ended, she asked me, "Can we go to a spring training game?" So it was kind of impromptu. I said, "Yeah, we could try to do that." And we just kind of put together this vacation and incorporate going to Disneyland and some other things, but primarily to go to Yankee spring training games really quickly. So it was just on a whim at the end of the baseball strike.
Wow, that I guess it's only fitting that you two shared this experience together because you share so many other things. I do have to ask you though, when you have a broken jaw and you got a little shiner going on, Ashley, you got burned, your necklace melted off your neck. Do you still have like scars from that?
It's kind of like a scab right now. Like almost as if like a cat scratched you and it just scabbed over.
Yeah.
Um, but it's healing. They gave me a prescription burn cream in the hospital
Mhm.
that I've been using on it to help it heal. They said there is likely going to be a tiny scar, which I'm going to adorn with a lightning bolt tattoo. And my
I was gonna
dad's
say you
phone.
both should get tattoos together.
Dad's not going to support.
I'm
I can tell you,
trying.
Dad is not going to support daughter getting a tattoo. I would guess
No,
that.
I'm opposed to that, but she's a big girl now, so it's a little harder to restrain
Not much you
her.
can do. Yeah, I
I've
know.
got 15 already, so it's a little late for that.
She didn't start getting those till she was 18, though. Believe me, that was
I'm
recent.
okay.
I feel
Oh
you,
my
Dad.
gosh.
I feel
I
you with
do.
that.
Okay, so another question I was just going to ask because Ashley, you said something about you were studying lightning before. What? Why was it that you were studying lightning?
I honestly, I was just kind of interested in it. I've always actually loved thunderstorms. I would sit by the window and read during them, or they were always just calming for me. I would play thunderstorm noises to fall asleep if I had trouble. I've just always loved them, so I was curious about lightning. And when it came up, and when I was in high school, an AP Physics project, it came up that it was a topic I was able to do some research on, and I did that, and it turns out that there's only theories about why lightning strikes happen and what causes them that nobody knows for sure.
Well, if you're ever interested in some lightning research, there's a place in Florida. It's in Stark, Florida. UF researchers, I once did a story. They actually wait for a thunderstorm to go over in the summer in Stark. They shoot a rocket up with copper wire attached to it, and they can actually trigger lightning. So the lightning comes down, and then they study the strike in all these different ways. So just throwing that out there, a little Florida tie. We get so much lightning that they can trigger it with a rocket.
What do they believe the Florida gets so many lightning strikes? What do they have a reason for that?
Well, in the summertime,
Geographically
sea breezes collide in the middle. If you ever come to Florida in the summer, every afternoon, it just
4 o'clock.
creates this nasty soup of storms. And because there are so many storms, we get tons of lightning around here, specifically in the summertime. You guys were lucky in the fact that it wasn't even in the summer. You didn't even have to wait till the summertime to get a crazy lightning storm. So.
Yeah, we didn't hear it was the lightning capital of the world until after the fact.
Yeah. Just of North America. I think someplace in Africa it gets even more lightning strikes than we do here in Florida. We don't even want that title. I'm sad that you guys were struck by lightning, but happy that you are okay, and so glad to see the two of you because Matt was right. You two are adorbs.
Keep it going. Right now, I have a 14-year-old daughter who thinks I'm the most embarrassing creature this world has ever seen. So there is hope for my future.
Oh, well, dads usually are.
That's the truth.
No, we have some common interests, and so we do a lot of things together. Like she said, she'll come up to me and ask me for ice cream at 10 o'clock at night, and we'll be searching for her.
Oh
my
gosh, I just
But
love it. John,
yeah,
Snacks,
you
so
guys are
we
gonna
have some
come. You're gonna come
common
back to
traits
Florida,
that
though, right?
bind
You're
us
gonna
even
come back.
more.
Take this picture.
oh, I think we're cutting out a little bit.
Oh no, yeah,
John
yeah,
and
yeah.
Ashley, the
We
internet's
definitely will
finally
be coming
giving out
back
on
for
us.
spring training next year, but
Oh.
it kind of cut our trip.
Oh,
We will definitely be back. We want to finish the trip to Disney, so we'll be back.
We will see.
Oh.
Hey, we're in Orlando. We would love to see
Yeah.
you guys. Thank you so much
Oh, that's
for joining
great.
us for Florida's Fourth
Thank
Estate.
you.
John and
Take
Ashley,
care.
you guys are amazing. So adorable. Glad you're okay. Come back
Yeah.
and see
Thank
us.
you
thank
again.
you.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you. Bye.